Hello everyone, I'm Hyobin Lee again. This is the second class. Second class, I want to talk about how to use generative AI, especially ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really famous these days. I believe you guys use a lot ChatGPT. And today I want to talk about how to use it in a right way. First of all, when you use ChatGPT, but not only ChatGPT, but other kinds of generative AI, including DeepSeek. So you can use DeepSeek, ChatGPT, and other things. So today I want to talk about, I just wanted to focus more on ChatGPT because ChatGPT is widely used in Korea. You can use ChatGPT for different kinds of things. The first thing is basic knowledge of questions. So you can ask a very simple question, historical question, or a phenomena. Or when you use brainstorming, so you can use also ChatGPT. And when you write a paper, you can actually got a help in the writing section. And when you're revising or editing a paper, you can also use ChatGPT. But I wanted to actually show how, when you use ChatGPT, what is fabrication, falsification, plagiarism. The first, this is the ChatGPT website. So if you visit the ChatGPT, the website looks like this. So I strongly recommend for you to use ChatGPT 4 instead of ChatGPT 3.5. So if you pay, it's how much is this? It's like $30, $25 or something. So I subscribed ChatGPT. And the main difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 is that the level of language. So if you speak in English, then the ChatGPT 4, in terms of English proficiency, ChatGPT 4 is much better than ChatGPT 3.5. But if your language is not English, then you must, I think it's must, kind of must to use ChatGPT by paying the money. Because other language other than English, if you use other language than English, then the proficiency has a lot different from ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4. So if I compare ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5, so I can see the differences between the two. And ChatGPT 4 is much better and then much well written than ChatGPT 3.5. So that's why I recommend to use ChatGPT 4. But not only for that, but also in terms of security reason, I strongly recommend ChatGPT 4. So the government actually announced like 2 days ago. Today is February. What day is it today? Let me check. February 17th, like February 14th, the government actually prohibited using DeepSeek in government-funded institution. So if you work at R&D research institute, or if your university is a national university, that's not allowed to use DeepSeek. It's because of research security. But if you pay the money, then when you enter a certain things to ask the questions to ChatGPT, we call this prompt. So when you ask the questions, then all this prompt that you put or you uploaded will be transferred to the server that is located in the country. So for instance, DeepSeek case, the DeepSeek was made by the China, right? Of course not Chinese government, but technically saying, so all I uploaded or all I input, all these data can be transferred to the Chinese server. So it's not safe at all. So your research is very valuable, and this is highly related to national economic values and scientific values. So that's why the government actually prohibited using DeepSeek in national or government-funded organizations. So DeepSeek is kind of dangerous, but it doesn't really mean that ChatGPT is safe. So according to the conditions, so if you did not pay, then all these prompts will be transferred to the server, the ChatGPT server, and they will use for developing ChatGPT or updating the ChatGPT. Of course, you can change the policy. So if you don't like that the prompt will be transferred to the firm, you can change the policy section. But we shouldn't trust. It doesn't really matter that is ChatGPT or DeepSeek. We can be sure they will not use our data. So I think it's much safer that you shouldn't input any important things to the ChatGPT. But anyway, so let's try to use ChatGPT. I believe you use ChatGPT a lot these days, but I'm wondering that whether you check up here or not. So these days we have Sora, but I'm not gonna introduce Sora today. But I'll introduce Explore GPTs to you. So I believe you just write or you just conversate throughout this prompt, and then you didn't. I don't think you use Explore GPT, but I strongly recommend not to use ads like this because of the security. Not only for the security reason, but you should understand how ChatGPT answers the questions. So ChatGPT answer based on statistics, based on the frequency. So what is this word frequently follow? So for instance, if I say honey, then the frequent word that follow honey will be like I miss you, I love you, like that way. So if I input honey, then the ChatGPT will answer like I love you or I miss you, like that way. So honey, I love you, and I miss you would be a good answer, right? But I'm not saying we cannot be sure this is always right. So the characteristic that ChatGPT, the way of answering is like this. So the problem if you use ChatGPT when you conduct research, it can be a huge problem because it misinformed there's some information in data. If you use it, then it's not okay because your paper will be retracted for sure. And this can be fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism. So I strongly recommend when you use ChatGPT, if I were you, I would try Explore GPT. So if you use Explore GPT, there are a lot of tools that you can use for your research. The first thing that I want to introduce is Write for Me. So Write for Me actually means it's so obvious what it means. It will write instead of me, right? So sometimes when I write a paper, I can't handle what to say. Oh, I don't know what to say. Then I ask Write for Me, and I want to say something like this. Can you write this for me? You can order like that way. The first thing I want you to show is this. This is school notification. So if I designate like that way, then ChatGPT actually understands how to write it. So there is always a kind of form, right? So letter form or notification form or paper format. So the ChatGPT take the certain format that is fit into the order. So I said school notification and no class for introduction to political science today. And I want to write for the student. That's what I said, the three things. So you should always, when you make order, when you write a prompt to ChatGPT, you should keep the three things. The first thing is order, goal. What is the goal of this writing? The second is what you want to write. And the third, who is a reader? So I actually asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT say, hi, the students who take the introduction to political science, and there's no class today. It's written like that, and then at the end, thank you. So this is the right format for notification. So you don't have to worry about the format at all when you use the right ChatGPT. And then this is ChatGPT when I use the Korean, to fix Korean or improve Korean. So this is Korean. So let's just pass. I want to show English. So this section, I wrote it, and then the right section, the ChatGPT actually fixed. So I said, this is for my academic paper. Can you fix it for me? That's what I said. And I was really surprised because the word they choose is very academic, and then they fixed it much better. So for instance, I said the global semiconductor market is highly competitive with countries like the United States, Korea, Japan, etc. being for dominance. That's what I wrote. But if you compare the right sentence here, the global semiconductor market is fiercely competitive. So it changed from highly to fiercely. Fiercely is much more academic, much more formal, right, than the highly. With key players such as, so I use the word like, but it changed to key players such as. So as you can see, it is very helpful even for native English speakers. So maybe ChatGPT cannot write as fancy as you, but at least it can change or it can correct the wrong sentence, or if the sentence is something wrong, or improved your writing. So it's really helpful. And this is actually, I asked the transcript request to the University of Utah, which I graduated from, but I gave only 2 or 3 information: my date of birth, and then I said email, write an email. So I said the goal of this writing. So you have to designate goal of writing first. So I said email. And second information, what I want to write. So I want to write an email for transcript request. And 3, it's who actually get this email. So if you look at this, then it's the right format for email, right? So it says, "Dear Sir and Madam, my name is Hyobin Lee, and I graduated from the University of Utah, and I appreciate your assistance and look forward to your prompt reply. Sincerely, Hyobin Lee." So this is the right format for email. So you don't have to worry about like format when you use Write for Me, ChatGPT. And this is actually an amazing tool. So if you use Write for Me, if you ask, why don't you, if you just input, start writing and say, why don't you make it to table? Or why don't you make it to figure? Or why don't you make as a PPT file? So you can download even PPT file. This is actually the table that that ChatGPT actually shows to me. I input the articles related to difference between the university research and corporate research, and I said, why don't you make a table for me? And that's what it makes. So if you look at the aspect, objective, funding, timeline, focus, publication, profitability, I did not say you should divide it or categorize it that way. So ChatGPT just read the articles, and then ChatGPT actually divide it into like that way. And then you can download it from ChatGPT as an Excel file or PDF files as you want it, PPT file. So when you present a PPT file, PPT to the class, in the class, you can use ChatGPT, and then you can download ChatGPT. Of course, it's not that fancy, but it's just widescreen and then write. But still, it really helps to how to make. So you can get some ideas from ChatGPT. And when you write a paper, I strongly recommend you use this section. So if you go Explore GPT, then there are a lot of tools. So I introduce writing, and if you click the writing, then you can see the Write for Me. And then if you go Research and Analysis here, if you click it, you can see different kinds of tools. I recommend 3 different things: Consensus, Scala GPT, Scala AI. So when you use and when you write a paper, you should use 3 different things. The first thing I want to recommend is Consensus. Consensus is it's really good searching engine. So when you try to find articles, you should use Consensus. So if you don't like Consensus, if you want to use different engines, I strongly recommend Perplexity AI. So I will introduce Perplexity AI later on. I mean, there are good things and bad things about each generative AI, but Consensus case is good because it's within ChatGPT. So you don't have to open another Explorer tab or Google tab again. So consensus, I ask, why don't you write a paper related to anti-Chinese sentiment, which I study right now. Why I love China, there is no offense, or I really like China. I visited China a lot. My major is actually the Chinese political economy and Korean political economy. So I wanted to just study why there is Chinese sentiment in the world. So that's what I'm studying. So I ask, why don't you try to find the article related to Chinese sentiment? But if you try to find at Google, then you should put the keyword. Then you can find a lot of different lists. And you have to read everything you need. So you should select which one you need. But this one is different because it shows the article name and the author name here, and then what is the article about. So you can see at once. So this is very helpful. And this is in Korean. So I recommend Consensus, ChatGPT, Scala AI. I want you to compare each tool. So which one is better or best for you? To figure it out which one is best tool for you, you should ask the same question to Consensus, ChatGPT, Scala AI, Scala GPT. So I asked why Korean democracy has been collapsed or why Korean democracy has been backslide. That was my question, and this is what ChatGPT answered. So this is not Explore GPT or Scala GPT like that. And then this one is a consensus answer like that. If you compare these two answers, probably even though you don't understand Korean at all, you would choose this one, just because it has citation. So as a Scala, if there is no citation, that knowledge is not needed. So that's not what you need. You can use it because you cannot cite. So citation is actually the most important thing for scholars, right? So this answer, we can say this answer is good, but I don't think so. I don't agree with what ChatGPT said. But this answer, even though you don't agree, but you cannot ignore because it's already published. So when you use consensus, you can use consensus like this way. So either you can try to find a related article. The second one is you can ask the question. So if you want to brainstorming or if you try to find a research question, you can ask consensus. And then Scala AI. Scala AI tool is AI scientists generate hypotheses, analyze text, figures, and tables from 200 million plus research papers and books. So this tool is very helpful when you use previous literature review. So when you review previous literature, you should read a lot of articles. But if you have enough time, you just upload the PDF files or you upload the previous literature, and then you can ask the questions very specifically. So this is the article that I wrote, and then I just uploaded. So you can use this clip and then uploaded it. And PDF file, docs file, in Excel, PPT file, you can actually upload these. And then you ask like, what is this article about? Then it explains in English because I wrote in English. And then if you ask in Korean, then you can answer, you can listen, okay, you can see in Korean. Or if you want to ask in Chinese, you can ask in Chinese, so you can use it. If you're a Chinese student, I strongly recommend DeepSeek because DeepSeek is based on Chinese language. So the answer is much correct if you wanted to ask in Chinese. And then I ask specifically what is method of this paper. This paper, I wrote this actual paper, and then in this paper is kind of weird because method is like spread it out. It's really hard to find unless you don't read the article as a whole. But I was really surprised that ChatGPT find answers right away. So my method for this paper were four. So Pathfinder, Innovator, Risk Taker, Monitor. But it could find right away. So I was really shocked. So this one really helped when you wanted to study the previous literature in a detail. Scala GPT is a little bit different from the previous ones because where access. So this is important. So Scala AI actually access published paper and books, but this one access Google Scholar, PubMed, JSTOR, like that. So if your goal is much higher than KCI, so if you want to publish in a SCI journal and famous journals, then I strongly recommend you use Scala GPT because it accesses the well-known index. So you can ask the questions like same as like what do you think about like Korean democratic backsliding? Then it answers. If you look at here, then you'll be surprised because it explains as a whole. So what is the trend related to your question? And then this number actually shows the literature. So this is the name of the article, and then this is summarized of this article. And then if you click number 5, then you can see what is this article about. And then this is English version. Here are some recent scholar articles related to backsliding of democracy in South Korea. You can see title, author, year, abstract at the same in one page. This is actually much better than Google because in Google you have to click and read like that way. But you can save a lot of time for that. And as I said, if you want me to know which tool is best for you, you should ask the same question to every tool. So this is what Scala GPT answer. So Scala GPT's answer is much better than the ChatGPT, but I prefer Consensus because it shows citation. But if you ask citation, it also shows citation. Scala GPT as well. And second one I want to show is Explore. If you go Explore GPT, then there is a DALL-E program. If you go to DALL-E, then there is image generator. So I order like this. Prompt. My prompt is draw a woman, a little chubby and lovely, 40-year-old. So I would prompt like this way, and then this is drawing by image generator. What do you think? Don't you think there is a problem? The problem, as you can see, is that she's not chubby, definitely. She's skinny. But the most problematic thing is she's white. So I never say, please draw a white woman. I just say a woman. But the ChatGPT just draw a white woman. That's very racist, right? So you should remember that when you use ChatGPT, it actually resembles the human being. So it resembles human beings' bias as well. So whose bias is that? Actually white, because white people actually invented this ChatGPT, and it follows white people. And if you wanted to write Asian, you should designate it. So you should specifically say, draw an Asian woman, or black woman, or Mexican woman, like that way, Latinos. So this is very racist. And then I said, I ordered like this. I want you to write draw for to describe Korean War. But it shows that it asks what kind of things you want draw. So I said, why don't you burning buildings like that? And then ChatGPT draw like this way. But still, you can see the problem, right? So this is not the first picture. This is the second one. The first time, it drew very Western style of building. So I criticize this is not Korean building. And then the ChatGPT actually draw again. But I'm not satisfied with it yet. But it was much better than first one. The problem is this one. At that time in Korea, in 1950, we didn't have a fancy car like this, and we didn't have a carriage like this. So this is all wrong. But so you should keep revise the drawing. And you can use cartoonize yourself. So if you upload pictures, then you can actually get some cartoons like that. So you can write a comic books even. And this program, this tool from now on, I want to explain that helps GPT. So if there is something you think it's unique or helpful, so you can download it. So how to use it is this. So this is name of a prompt genie. If you write in Google, and then if you plug in Chrome, and if you go back to ChatGPT, you can see the Chrome. You can see the prompt genie is included in your ChatGPT. So the first thing that I want to introduce is the automatic translator. So if you use Korean and English at the same time, it's much better, a very useful tool for this. So there is a Korean one, and there are different kinds of languages as well. But I want to show English one. So it says that the prompt genie will automatically interpret what you said. So I ask like in Korean 강아지 품종 3개 알려줘. Then automatically shows name 3 dog breeds. So that's automatically translate like that. And they answer in English and also shows in Korean. So Golden Retriever, German Shepherd, and Labrador Retriever. And if you write here in Korean, and if you put the button in enter and control button at the same time, it's automatically translated in the prompt window. So it's actually like this. And then if you enter it, the name 3 dog breeds, and you can see the answer and at the same time translation. And second one is WebChat GPT. WebChat GPT is access to website. So if you use ChatGPT, then ChatGPT has a lot of data, tons of data. And then if you use ChatGPT, then the answer is generated based on the data that ChatGPT has. But if you don't like it, or if you want a more updated version, then you can plug in WebChat GPT. So it's internet access possible. So Google WebChat GPT, then you can see this. You can see this screen, and you push this button. So add to Chrome, and you can. If you go back to ChatGPT, you can see this web access and one-click prompt. So I ask like this: how the anti-Chinese sentiment has been differed from 2022, but if you didn't plug in this ChatGPT, WebChat GPT, then ChatGPT would answer like this. Oh, actually, I answer the based on or the I answer this question up to 2021. So if you ask like after 2002, 2021, then I cannot answer the questions like that. But since you make them to access the website, so it also answers from 2022. And I love this program, but I'm not sure whether you need it or not. If you're an English speaker, maybe not, but I think it will still helpful. So this is EdiGPT. So if you Google EdiGPT, then add to Chrome and go back to ChatGPT, you can see this one, EdiGPT. If it is white, then it's not active. If you push the button, then it will turn to yellow like this. And it shows that editing enabled. So I put my my article. So this is what I wrote, and then it automatically change, fix, correct like this way. So it says 40% of your passage has been rewritten. So the EdiGPT actually fixed it in a better form. So original word count 150, revised word count 159. So it's very helpful that because I can see how it changed, how ChatGPT has changed my word, right? So within one screen. If you like what it changed, then you should push this button. And if you click this button, it means copy what ChatGPT or EdiGPT fixed. So if you push this button and this button, then and then if you Control V, then it shows that how they fixed. So the corrected version you cannot see. Only corrected version you can see. So this red one, they erase, right? So you don't have to see, but you can see only corrected versions. This is EdiGPT, which I use a lot. And I want to introduce SCI Space. So SCI Space is helpful when you dissect the article. So if you wanted to study that specific article, you want to know quite deeply, then you can use this SCI Space. or if you want to read the article in computer within website, it will be really helpful. So click the button, upload PDF. So I uploaded my article. This is my article. So you can ask the questions related to this article. If you push this button, so there are a lot of options. Explain abstract of this paper, what are the contribution, find related papers, explain practical implication of this paper. So if you want to dissect, if you have to understand this one very deeply, so I strongly recommend use SCI space. So I click the button, what are the contribution of this paper, and it shows the contributions to this paper. But it explains quite well. I strongly recommend. And then you can change the language. So you can change from English to Korean, Korean to Chinese, Japanese, all kinds of language. So if it is written in Korean, then you want to use your own language, then you can set up like that way. So it will be really helpful. And this is paraphrasing tool. So you can input what you want to paraphrase, and then if you the control length and variation, you can actually paraphrase whatever you wrote here. So length means short or long, right? Longer, shorter. Variation, formal, casual, like that way. So it will be helpful. And this page. Actually, I wanted to show why I introduced SCI space to you. So let's say you are reading the article from the website. So this is website. But let's say you want it to read really fast. So you just block it. And if you block it, then it shows ask. If you click the button, it asks, do you want summarize the text or explain the text? Explain the text means not ChatGPT, SHI space want to explain related to what you blocked. Summarize text means summarize what I blocked. So I push the button, summarize text, and it summarizes like this short. So if you have to read the articles in a really fast way, or if you want to translate, then you can use translate. If you want to understand deeply, then you can ask the explain the text. And this one is word tune. I don't think you really need a word tune. This is better for Koreans, but this is a paraphrasing tool, sentence by sentence. So if you go to word tune and upload it, and if you block it and click this button, then it shows how they paraphrase sentence by sentence. It is better because the researchers can be more cautious. They know how they change, so they can select which one is best for them. And this is informal, so very casual. This is casual. And Perplexity AI, I want to introduce Perplexity AI. And Perplexity AI was updated by using DeepSeek. The DeepSeek actually opened its source, right? And then based on the Perplexity AI, take the open source and updated it. So it's a little bit different from what I introduced. But it's good. Perplexity is good because it's really good for looking for the articles that you would try to find out. So if you push the focus button, you can see the goal of your searching. So your goal is academic, so you click it, and then you ask the question. So I ask like, why don't you try to find anti-Chinese sentiment? The good thing is that it shows source first. You don't need Wikipedia, right? So you don't have to read it, but you might be interested in using NIJ, UC Press, because this is prestigious. So let's say I like this journal. So if you click, then you can go this article right away. That's Perplexity. And Perplexity is updated. So this is a little bit updated version. So you can see source. And then it shows that based on my question, it actually summarizes the trend of research. So number one, it's like this. Number two, it's like this. And the good thing is that you can see where this answer, the source. So Perplexity AI is a really good tool for searching your article. So this, I think we can call like generative AI. So there are so many different kinds of generative AI. ChatGPT, Copilot, Jarma, Perplexity AI, CloverX, like that. But ChatGPT you can use for all of this. So if you just have a ChatGPT is pretty good program, so you can use for everything. And the DeepSeek is also good. I recommend DeepSeek too. But there is a problem for hallucination. So hallucination, AI actually tell a lie to you to pretend that that happened. So for instance, I asked the questions. Joseon Dynasty, there was no MacBook Pro, right? So this Mac computer, there was no Mac computer. So I asked, in Joseon Dynasty, King Sejong actually threw the MacBook away. So can you explain that? But King Sejong never actually threw the MacBook Pro, right? Because there was no computer whatsoever during the Joseon Dynasty. But the question is very biased. Question itself assumed that there was King Sejong, and King Sejong also threw the MacBook Pro away. So the ChatGPT should, when ChatGPT answer, the ChatGPT thinks that there was King Sejong, and the King Sejong threw the MacBook away. So I should explain that incident already occurred. So that's why the ChatGPT actually lying. We call this hallucination. Why there's a hallucination? It's because the ChatGPT could not train enough, especially in foreign language, Korean. So we use Korean, but Korean is not as much as English in terms of the amount. So if you are English speaker, then I strongly recommend you use it in English. But if you're a Korean speaker or other language, then I strongly recommend to use English. English would be helpful. And then, as I explained, it's answer based on frequency. So that's why, as I said, like honey, I love you can be always answer, but it's not. It can be answer, but it's not always right answer, right? So because of frequency, there is a hallucination, and there is a hallucination because they learned based on human feedback. So if you keep saying, let's say like, what is 1 + 1? Then the ChatGPT would answer 2. But if you say no, your answer is wrong, the answer should be 4, then it get feedback, and then later on it answers, oh yeah, 1 + 1 is number 4. So that's why there's AI hallucination. So when you use ChatGPT, you shouldn't ask biased question. So when you ask the question, you shouldn't say like this question. If you look at this, after looking up this data, please tell me this medicine will decrease the death penalty. If you ask like that way, then ChatGPT would think that, so this data, this medicine decrease the death rate. So I should answer like that way. So the question itself is actually very biased. You should ask like that. So you should ask in a subjective, objective way, not a subjective way. And this is actually for Koreans, so you should use it in English. If your first language is not English, then I strongly recommend to use English. And then if you use in a kind way, it's much better, or it's much better chance to get more answers. For instance, the right side, I strongly ignore the ChatGPT, but in the right side, I was really kind and I got more answers than rude ones. And I want to introduce this one. So when you use ChatGPT, what is fabrication, falsification occur? So great example is coding. So when you ask like coding, or when you ask prompt for your statistics, so it's always possible that ChatGPT give a wrong prompt or wrong answers to you. But if you did not check it, so you just use it as ChatGPT says, then you get involved fabrication or falsification. So this is the picture that ChatGPT fabricated, fabricated. So manipulated. So A is real, but I asked to change B. Why don't you draw more? And then why don't you change the patterns? and it changes patterns. So if you ask better version, or if you change throughout ChatGPT, this is fabrication and falsification. You shouldn't do that. And then I ask, why don't you make statistics related to constant and economic growth and democracy development? I was really surprised because I only expect the answer constant and economic growth, but it also shows civil society, education level, press freedom. So it's very valid controlling variables. But I felt like, oh, if I use it, I can even publish it. But you shouldn't do that. This is fabrication. And ChatGPT also can make script like that way. But if you use script like this way and then turn in the paper like that, this is also fabrication and falsification. And then if you use wrong information from ChatGPT, that is also fabrication, falsification. So for instance, I ask, is Turkey democracy? Turkey is not democracy. Turkey became non-democracy after Erdogan, but it says Turkey is politically democracy. So if you did not check whether Turkey is democracy or not, if you use this information, then you fall into fabrication or falsification because you change the fact. And the right side, it's about LOPD disease. So LOPD disease is not, it shows the LOPD symptom, but this is completely wrong. But if you did not check what is the symptom of LOPD, then you probably fall into fabrication and falsification. And this is actually the different wrong quote. So it should be like this. But if you use it as it is, then your data must be fabricated or falsified. And the plagiarism can be occurred a lot. So what was plagiarism? So if you provide proper citation, that is plagiarism. So let's say it's possible these days to make ChatGPT write a whole paper. But it's still a problem because in case where content provided generated AI citation where incorrect citations are given, two cases are typical plagiarism, but this one, I made ChatGPT write a paper. So ChatGPT wrote 5 different articles, and then the problem was it was too short to use as a paper as a whole, but the problem is it was wrong. So sometimes the methodology is wrong. Sometimes it misinterprets articles. So you cannot use ChatGPT writing a paper. So if you ask writing a paper instead of you, that is plagiarism. That's actually ghostwriting. And this one, the case where contents provided by generated AI lack proper citation or where incorrect citations are given. So this is incorrect citation. So for instance, number one, Osteoporosis International Journal is real journal, but there was no article like this, and there is no article written by Kawajoki M. et al. But this journal, Osteoporosis International Journal, is real. So some researchers didn't check whether there is such articles or not. They just use ChatGPT. Then this is incorrect citations, right? So this is one of the plagiarism. Or if you use ChatGPT's information without citation, this is also plagiarism. And then let's look at the research security perspective. You shouldn't put all of these to prompt ChatGPT. You shouldn't input or upload any data related to this. The first one is password and username. So that is related to personal information, so you shouldn't put it. And then personal identification information, so you shouldn't put any social security number, green card number, anything related to identify your information, or other sensitive or confidential data. So all information that can be used, verify or provide individual identity. So you shouldn't use, you should input any personal data like that to ChatGPT, and all data related to intellectual property right and all data protected by copyright. So intellectual property rights give examples like movies, pictures, drawings, all kinds of things that you have to pay to use it. and all data copyright. So if there is copyright, you should use it. And data obtained from the third party. So if you get the data from someone, you shouldn't use that for ChatGPT. So this is highly important related to research security. And unfair, also you don't have to worry about it. So when the ChatGPT came for the first time, so people should think that should we put ChatGPT as an author or not. But these days they do not admit ChatGPT as an author because it's not human being. So there are no cases where AI tools are listed as an author, and no case where copyright has been registered by ChatGPT or generated AI. But there was a case. There are no cases where copyright is recognized for works created by AI. However, the recent U.S. Copyright Office has acknowledged copyright registration for works created by AI, provided that human creativity has been added to the result. So this is fantasy, the Jara of the Dawn. The drawing was drawn by ChatGPT, but this text was written by this boy, and then the U.S. Copyright Office only give a copyright to the text, not the drawing per se. So this is work created by AI and humans for the first time, and then got a copyright. And this is how to cite. So if you use ChatGPT, you should cite, and then this is how to cite. So you should quotation mark, and then put what to write to your ChatGPT. So this is prompt. Describe the symbolism of green line in the book The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Prompt. You put prompt like this way: ChatGPT version, date, and URL. Like this reference is the same. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, URL. And this is a citation example for drawing. So you can use drawing by using ChatGPT, but you should provide citation. The pointillist painting over ship, a sunny field of blue flowers. Prompt. That's the prompt, and it used DALL-E and version 2, OpenAI, date, and URL. So this is how to cite. And this is the papers that retracted because it was obviously written by ChatGPT. So you should be super careful. So it's Elsevier publisher. It's very famous, but still look at here. Certainly here is a possible introduction for your topic. So this is what ChatGPT answer, and it just copy and paste. Regenerated response is the same. What ChatGPT answer. Elsevier publisher, but here, if you look at here, I'm very sorry, but I don't have access to real-time information or patient-specific data as I'm an AI language model. So this one actually ChatGPT answer, but the authors just copy and paste and retracted. And this one regenerated response same. And this is actually regenerated. It was retracted because of the wrong picture. So the picture is wrong, and at the same time, it doesn't look like this. And then at the same time, the term it used is wrong. So academically, it doesn't use this language. So it's totally fine that you use ChatGPT and using the pictures drawn by ChatGPT, but for that, you should revise again and again, and you should use the right term for the paper. And this, I want to introduce Killbot. The Killbot is free, so you can check what percentage of your text is written by ChatGPT. You can detect it. You can detect throughout the CopyKiller. CopyKiller also provides that service. So if I uploaded it, so it shows that 47% of text is highly likely AI generated. But I actually wrote it first, and then I make fixed by ChatGPT, but it shows 47%. That's pretty high, right? But if you look at Quotient, our AI detector is advanced, but no detection are 100% reliable. So it shows that 100% are not reliable. So that's why not many journals actually use this Quillbot or ChatGPT killer or detect programs like that. But I think you can try, and then you can see what percentage of your text written by ChatGPT. So far, I talked about how to use ChatGPT in the right way, and then what's the problems, research from the research misconduct perspective, what's the problem by using ChatGPT. I hope this program, this class, help you to publish your paper in the right way. Thank you.